Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. I am Salman Said Khan. I'm a lecturer at CSE Department of Brack University. In our previous lecture, we had talked about method overloading and constructor overloading. In our today's lecture, we will be talking about what is encapsulation, what are access modifiers, and how we can achieve encapsulation in Python. So, what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is one of the four major concepts of OOP. In OOP, encapsulation means wrapping attributes and methods that work on the attributes together in a single unit and hide it from other units. For example, a class. A class has several data attributes or variables and methods that work on those attributes wrapped together in a single unit, and it can hide those data from other classes or other units. The purpose of encapsulation is restricting the access to attributes and methods of a class to prevent accidental modification of data. In order to explain encapsulation in a better way, I have found a very good example in Geeks for Geeks website. Let me explain. For example, a company can have different sections like sales section, finance section, management section. The financial section does all the financial transactions and keeps track of those transactions. The sales section does the sales activities and keeps track of it. At some point of time, an official from the finance section may need the sales information of a particular month from the sales section, but he or she cannot directly access all the data in the sales section. Rather, what he can do, he can ask the sales section or a particular member from the sales section to give him that particular data. This is called encapsulation. All the data of the sales section and the members who are working on those data in the sales section are wrapped around in a single unit named the sales section. Also, all the data of the finance section and all the employees who are working on those data are wrapped around in one single unit named the finance section. Now, encapsulation hides data from other units. As we can see that the data of the sales section is hidden from the uh, finance section. The officials of or the employees of the finance section cannot directly access the data of the sales section. Similarly, the employees of the sales section cannot access the data of the finance section directly. This is called data hiding using encapsulation. To achieve encapsulation or to restrict access to attributes and methods of a class, most OOP languages like Java, C++ have access modifiers like public, private, protected, and default access modifier. But in Python, we do not have any access modifier, but it can be achieved by following some conventions and name mangling. Access modifiers are keywords to maintain access to attributes and methods in a class. What do we mean by that? Who or which class can access the attributes and methods, or from where we can access those attributes and methods are defined by access modifiers in a class. In most OOP languages like Java and C++, etc., there are four access modifiers. They are public, private, protected, and default access modifier. Class members with public access modifiers are accessible from anywhere outside the class. It can be from other classes of the same package or different package as well. In short, class members with public access modifiers can be accessed from anywhere. Private. Class members with private access modifiers are accessible only within the class. The members cannot be accessed from outside of the class. In short, class members with private access modifiers are only accessible within the class. That means we cannot use that variable anywhere outside of the class. Protected. Class members with protected access modifiers are accessible only within the class and its subclasses. As we can see, there is a slight difference between private and protected access modifier. Class members with protected access modifiers are accessible only within the class and also from the child classes or subclasses. It has a concept of inheritance included, so we will be skipping this part for now. Default access modifier. If we do not mention any of the above access modifiers like public, private, protected, then by default the class member gets the default access modifier. There is a slight difference between the public and default access modifier. Class members with default access modifiers are accessible from anywhere inside the same package, but classes from other packages cannot access the members with default access modifiers, wherein public access modifier, the members can be accessed from classes of other packages. As I have said earlier, protected access modifier includes the knowledge of inheritance, so we will be skipping for that now. In the table given below, you can understand the difference between access modifiers very clearly in short. Let us move to the codes so that we can understand the concepts a bit better. So, we have opened NetBeans here. Inside the NetBeans, I have created a project called Encapsulation. Under that project, I have created a package called encapsulation underscore package. For now, think of a package as a new folder. Inside the package, I have created a class called accounts. Now, let me add some variables, instance variables inside the class. A public string account name, then public string account no, then public double account balance. Now, let us create a constructor. We're creating a constructor to set the values of the instance variables account name, account num, and account balance. Account name equal ABC. Sorry, forgot to add a semicolon here. Account num equal, let's say 1 2 3 4, and account balance, let's say 10,000. So what we have here, we have three instance variables: account name, account num, and account balance, and a constructor to initialize the values of those attributes or variables. As we can see here, all the variables are public. Okay, now we are creating a method called print details to actually show the values of the instance variables or print the values of the instance variables. Let's say we have system dot out dot print. So we have account name plus, let's just do it in a better way, name, account name, then add a little space, then let's say we have account no, cc no, Then let's add another space, then add account balance, ACC balance. That's all. Okay, we are getting an error here. I think I have made a mistake somewhere. Okay, system.out.println. Oh yeah, we have to add a plus sign here. Okay. As we can see, these variables are public and these variables are directly accessible inside the methods inside the print details method, and this print details method is inside the class, right? So these variables are directly accessible within the class. Now let us create another class, okay, named the tester. In the tester class, let us create a main method, public static void main. Now um, Now, inside the main method, we will be creating an object of accounts class. Let's say accounts accounts obj equal new accounts. Now, let us try to access these variables directly from the main method. For example, if we try to print obj dot account name, then print obj dot, sorry, not print, system dot, I'm a bit confused between Python and Java actually. I get confused while coding. Okay, sorry for that. System dot out dot println, system dot out dot println, okay, obj dot account balance. If we run the tester method, we can see the output, that ABC and 10,000. As we can see, as these variables are public, we can access it from a different class tester. Okay. Also, same goes for the method. We had one method obj.print details method. We can directly call it from another class. It won't give us any error. If we run it, we will get name ABC, account number 134, and account balance 10,000. Okay. So what we said earlier, variables or members in a class with public access modifiers are directly accessible from anywhere from other classes as well. From this point of view, it will be hard to understand what I'm trying to mean. Let me show you what private does. Now let us change these variables to private, and let's keep this method public for now. As we can see, these variables have private access modifier, right? And you can see in the print details method, these are not giving any error because the print details method is inside the class. We have seen that variables or attributes with private access modifiers are only accessible within the class, so we can access these variables anywhere within the class. Now if we try to create access them from a different class, let's say tester, we can see that we are getting errors. Can we see the error? Yes, we can see that account name has private access in accounts. That means as these variables are private, we cannot directly access these variables from outside of the class, but we can access the print details method as it is public, right? What if I change the print detail method to private? As you can see, we cannot access the print details method as well because we are trying to access these members from another class, but these members are only accessible within the accounts class. We can use it only in the accounts class directly, otherwise we cannot access it. Now, what's the point of having private variables if we cannot access it from outside of the class? Well, we can access it from outside of the class, but not directly. There is another approach called setter and getter. Basically, it is just these are just two methods, two public methods. One to change the value of the private members, and one to get the updated value of the private members. For example, let's say we have account name. So we can write a public member that will set name, and we will receive a string here, let's say x, and set the value of account name to x. This method will just change the value of the account name, and this is a public method. Also, we will write a get method that will return the value of the account name. So since account name has a type of string, so the return type is going to be string, then get name, and it won't have any parameters, then return account name. Remember, these are just two methods. Method name can be anything as long as you are following the convention. Okay, so this does not have to be set name and get name, or setter or getter. These are just public methods. You can name it anything you like. The purpose of set name is to change the value of account name, and the purpose of get name is to return the value, return the updated value of account name. Now, let's say we want to change the value of our account name. Let's say we want to do it like this: is name equal def. But as we have seen, account name is a private variable, so we cannot access it directly from the tester class, but we can fulfill our purpose using the setName method, right? If we write setName and send def here, what will happen? It will call the setName method here, and the def will be set in x, so the value of x is set. Now, if we set the value of x to account name, then account name will have the updated value def. Now, suppose we want to print the value of account name, but as sorry again, Python and Java confused. Print ln. Now, if we try to print the value of account name, as you can see, it is giving us an error as account name is private. No worries, as we cannot access it directly, we will use this method to get the value of the account name. And if we run it now, we will get def in output, right? So basically what we are doing, since we cannot access the private members directly, what we are doing, we are writing two public functions, one to change the value of the private member and one to return the updated value of the private member. You can also write these methods for other variables, other private variables as well. Okay, but mind it, these two methods must be public. If you keep it private, that means you cannot use it from here. This will give us an error. So we have to keep this public. Okay, so that's the difference between public and private access modifier. Public members with public access modifiers are accessible from anywhere, directly from anywhere outside of the class, from any class. Or as we had seen previously, if these variables are public, then we can directly access these variables from the tester class. But if these variables are private, we cannot directly access them from the tester class. Rather, we have written two public methods to actually manipulate and get the updated value of these private members. Okay. Same goes for private methods. You cannot, if you have a private method, you cannot call that from another class. It is only accessible only within the class. Okay. Now let us understand the default access modifier. If we do not write any access modifier here, this is called the default access modifier. That means these variables will get default access modifier. The default access modifier, for default access modifier, we do not need the setter and getter. And let's say we keep this method default as well. If we try to access these variables from another class directly, let's see if we get an error or not. System.out.println, and we are trying to access obj dot what's the name of the variable, account name. Then let's say println obj dot account balance. Okay, as we can see, we can directly access them from another class. Then what's the difference between public and default, as they're acting the same way, right? We can also call the print details method directly without any error. If we run it, it will run perfectly. Okay, then what's the difference between the default access modifier and the public access modifier? Let us create a new package. As I said earlier, for now just consider the package as just a folder. Let us create a new folder. Let's say what should I name it? Let's say ABC for now. Okay. Now under this package, let me create a class. Let's say tester2. Okay. Okay, since we are in a different folder than encapsulation package, we have, if we want to use the accounts class, we have to import it. So let us write the import statement. Import the package name underscore package dot accounts. Okay, now we can use the accounts class here. So what we are going to do, we are going to write a public static, a main method here, void main, and print RGS. Now inside this main method, we are going to create an object of the accounts class. Now let's try to access the variables that we had in the accounts class directly from our new class tester2 inside the ABC package. Now if we try to print system.out.println and write obj.account name, you can see it is giving us an error. What is it saying? Account name is not public in accounts, cannot be accessed from outside the package. Okay, let's try to call the method we had, obj.printDetails. As we can see, it is also giving us the same error. As we said in our theory part, that members with default access modifiers are almost similar to the public access modifier. The only difference is that these members with default access modifiers are not accessible directly from outside of the class. That means we cannot access it from anywhere outside of the package. Sorry again, I think I said outside of the class previously. Let me repeat. Variables with default access modifier, not only variables, also methods with default access modifiers are accessible from anywhere inside the same package. If we try to access them from a different package, we won't be able to access them. Where in case of public members, we can access them from other packages as well. For example, if we make these variables public, we can go to the tester2 file and voila, the errors are gone. We can directly access these variables, this method from another class, another package in another class. So let me just summarize the default access the access modifiers actually. Public access modifiers are accessible inside the class, from other class in the same package, from other class in a different package. Class members with private access modifiers are only accessible within the class, cannot be accessed from other class of the same package, cannot be accessed from other class of a different package. Members with default access modifiers are accessible inside the class, can be accessed from other classes under the same package, and not be accessed from other classes of different package. Okay, that's how we can use the access modifier to control who or from where we can access the members of a class. These are the examples I have given in Java. Now let us move to Python.